Winning Blueprint presents.
It's the Redskins Report. So it's everything Redskins and anything of the sort. That's right, there's nothing here to hide. Skins colors are so bold, man, I wear 'em with pride. So get this Skins Report. Recap of Sunday's game and anything of the sort. Whether it's losses or wins, it's all skins. Come get it. I'm holding down the fort. You know why? 'Cause it's the Redskins Report. Man, can't nobody tell me that, man. I've been watching Redskins football since I was 3. Where were you at on January 12th, 1991? I know where I was at. I was in my room crying because the Redskins just lost to the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional round of the playoffs. That's real. I'm serious. That's real. Man, just tune into the show, man. Just tune in. The Redskins Report.
Welcome. This is the Week 15 Redskins preview show for the Cleveland Browns. As we take our winning streak, our 4-game winning streak, pack it up on the road in a suitcase, and go to Cleveland and try to come back with the W. Now, let me first start by saying last week I was very, very disrespectful. I didn't introduce myself. I didn't tell you what the program was. Nothing. I was so excited, so overcome with joy that I didn't even bother to tell you what this was. Of course, if you've been tuning in the whole time, you knew exactly what it was. But for those of you who are new to the show or just happened to stumble upon the program, I didn't introduce myself or this program at all, and I apologize for that. But you gotta excuse me. I was so excited after that win against the Ravens. I really didn't know what to do with myself. And so I just decided to get up here and get in front of the camera and start spotting off to you guys about what I saw and what transpired and how we got the win. That's why the episode was so long. That's why I try not to come and babble and talk too long because they get out of hand. But I jotted so many notes last week. That's really why it was so long, is that there were a lot of things that happened in that game to allow us to get the victory. And so this is the preview show for the Cleveland Browns, however. And this week's game is bigger than last week's game. You know why it is? Because we got the job done. I told you, as we continue to win games, we stockpile these wins like bricks. As we continue to do that, each game gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we got to rise to the occasion. There's no time for let up. And I want you to realize that this game here against the Cleveland Browns, this is a dangerous football game. This is a dangerous football team. I hope that you out there aren't selling this team short. Listen to this. I was talking to a fan of the Chicago Bears just the other day, and of course, he's afraid that they might miss the postseason. They've been a little shaky of late. If they don't win on Sunday against Green Bay, they could probably miss the postseason. I feel like if they don't win that game, right now their chances of missing the postseason is probably about 20%. They lose to the Packers on Sunday at home, which would mean that they have lost the division, and now their only shot at making the postseason would be the wild card. I would venture to say that 20% would elevate to around 65 to 70% chance of missing the postseason for the Chicago Bears. But I was talking to that guy, and he said to me, "You guys can't win against the Cleveland Browns without Robert Griffin III?" Because we were talking about his injury and him practicing on that particular day. That was his first day back at practice. I believe it was Wednesday. He said, "You guys can't beat the Cleveland Browns without Robert Griffin III?" And I stopped him right there. I said, "Hold up. For you to assume that we can beat the Cleveland Browns, for you to ask me to assume that we can beat the Cleveland Browns without the services of Robert Griffin III would be disrespecting the Cleveland Browns. And I'm not in the business of disrespecting any opponent that we have to play, especially one that has just finished winning 3 games in a row, playing really good football of late. They played their best football at home, which they are at home in this ball game. They have weapons on the offensive side of the ball that pose a threat to our defense. They have a young quarterback that's starting to get in the National Football League. He's one of the members of the NFL's starting 5. You're asking me to disrespect the team that could easily throw a wrench in our plans. And I will partake in none of it. And I hope you out there aren't doing that either. I hope you feel the same way that I do. This is a game that we must take seriously. We're not a good enough team, first and foremost, to overlook anyone. Since when did we earn the right to overlook any team? So I hope none of you are out there doing that at all whatsoever. Second of all, this is a dangerous, and I repeat, dangerous Cleveland Browns team. If you think that they're anything less than dangerous, you're fooling yourself and you're setting yourself up for the ultimate disappointment of the Redskins falling short in this football game. So don't do that. We got to come out and establish ourselves as the better team. Play our brand of football. We can't allow ourselves to get into any kind of a Cleveland Browns lull out there and have this game be 13-17, 17-20. We need to score up over 20 points, well into the 20s. That's when you get the Browns out of their comfort zone. But I had already told you, before we get into analysis of the Browns and what it's going to take to probably come away with the victory there, I want to talk about going crazy. Because remember, I told you, if we won against the Ravens, then I was going to start talking reckless. I was going to start asking a whole bunch of questions and start, just really enjoying this ride. Because I don't know how long it's going to last. We could lose our final 2 out of 3, and this thing could fall flat on its face, and we could be done and not even go to the postseason. So I'm going to enjoy the ride now. I'm not going to be so uptight, because now I realize that we are a good team. And even if we don't make the postseason this season, we're well on our way to going where we want to go, to doing what we want to do, which is establish ourselves as a triple P. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a perennial playoff participant. A team that you assume when the season starts is going to the postseason, because they normally end up in the playoffs just about every season. And I'm ready to establish myself as a triple P. And we're well on the way to doing that. With Robert Griffin III as our quarterback, if this is any indication of what he's going to be, if this is indicative of the quarterback that he's going to be moving forward, then we got ourselves a gem, and we'll be one of the teams threatening to win this division, to go to the postseason just about every single year. And really, you want to start winning the division. The wild cards are for teams who aren't good enough to get it done in their division, and they just want to get into the tournament. That's fine. You just want to get in any way you can. Teams have been winning the Super Bowl by virtue of the wild card for the last, seems like 5 or 6 seasons now, on a regular basis. But I don't want to make a living getting in with the wild card. I want to be a team that's winning 12, 13, 14 games. That's one of the best teams in the league. And I feel like we're on our way to doing that. We're building something in Washington. But I want to start asking you guys, the fans. We're all a big family, and this is fun. We need to enjoy this. We were 3-6. We were dead in the water. We were left for dead without any kind of life-saving device. We were just floating in the water. No one was coming to save us. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, came a life raft named Robert Griffin III. We grabbed a hold of it. Alfred Morris and some of the players on defense started reeling us in. And all of a sudden, now we're on the boat. We're back on the boat. We're alive and well. And now we're threatening to make the postseason. So let's have fun with this. Got a couple of questions for you guys. First and foremost, how do you feel about this team? Every team is its own entity. Every season is its own entity. How do you feel about this particular season of the Washington Redskins? How do you feel about this team? Sometimes you look at a team and you say, that's a nice group. It'll be fun to make it to the postseason. But you really don't think that you can win the Super Bowl. Maybe win a game or 2 in the playoffs, scare a few teams, and then bow out gracefully wild card weekend, maybe even in the divisional round. How do you feel about this team? Do you think that this team is actually good enough that if they get a ticket to the dance, that they can take it all the way, make it to the NFC Championship game, possibly make it to the Super Bowl, maybe even win it? That's a long ways away. But how do you feel about this team? I really find myself endearing myself more and more every week to this team. There's a lot of different players that exemplify what we want out of this team. We're starting to rid ourselves of guys like LaRon Landry, who You could be down by 24 and the team just get an 8-yard gain and he gets up like he just made the game-saving tackle. No more of those guys exist on this roster, and that's refreshing. You know, you do have the D'Angelo Hall moments where he just spouts off at the handle and just goes nuts. But other than that, this team is full of guys that are accountable, that we can trust to get the job done, and that are just good players. And I'm finding myself more and more each and every single week liking this team, loving this team even more. And as the weeks go by and I see how we're finding ways to win games, I'm starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, we got a shot if we make it to the postseason. Because number one, no one wants to see this offense. No one wants to see this offense. That's why it's imperative that if Robert Griffin III isn't 100%, isn't close to 100%, he doesn't play in this game. Because I'm not saying that we can get by without him against the Cleveland Browns, but I'm saying we don't need to risk him for the rest of this season and moving forward. This guy means too much to our franchise for us to sacrifice him just to make a run at the postseason this year. If he can't go, if he can hurt his leg further and make this thing worse, exacerbate this injury, we need to sit him down. Because this one game isn't worth 10 years of success for the Washington Redskins. It just isn't. So I feel really good, though, about this team. Because if Robert Griffin III is healthy and we get into the postseason, oh my gosh, are we going to be a dangerous team or what? Because we can score 24, we can score 27, we can score 30 points with the best of them. Our offense is dynamic. And when the defense decides to show up to the party, every now and again, they do. They show up, they get 1, 2, 3 turnovers, put us in position to score more points, even score themselves on the defensive side of the ball. Now we're a dangerous team. Just imagine if we start getting anything out of the special teams. We could be one of the most dangerous teams going into the postseason if we make it. That's a big if. That's the biggest 2-letter word in the dictionary. If. It's a long way away from us making the postseason. But if we get there, if we make it, and if Robert Griffin III is healthy, we could be one of the most dangerous teams to set foot in the playoffs in the 2012 season. So how do you feel about this team? I've set the bar pretty high now. I'm a guy that I taper my expectations for the most part. But I've got reason to believe. And I think you do too. How do you feel? I want to know what you guys feel about this team. Also, want to know, if we were to make it to the postseason, if, keyword being if, we make it to the postseason, as a wild card, where would you not want to go? Where's the one division leader you wouldn't want to face? And you can throw the Seattle Seahawks in there if you like, because the San Francisco 49ers have not sewn up that division. They could actually lose that division to the Seattle Seahawks. They still have to go to Seattle. They still have to go to New England, do the San Francisco 49ers. They could easily lose that division. So you can throw the Seahawks in there if you like. Where's the one place you don't want to go if we were to win the wild card? In wild card weekend, where's the one location you wouldn't want to go? I know it's easy for me. It should be easy for you, but everyone has different bugaboos. Everyone has different pet peeves. Places they don't like to play, teams they don't want to see. For me, it's easy. It's a no-brainer. Seattle has been a house of horrors for us in the postseason. I don't want to go back there. I don't, under any circumstances, want to go to Seattle. At all. No reason. I don't want to go to Seattle to play the Seahawks in Seattle. I have nightmares about Seattle. Don't want to go there. And that's a dangerous team when they're at home. I don't want to go to Seattle. I'll play anybody else. I'll play the 49ers. I'll go to San Francisco and play the 49ers. Even though that, to me, is like looking into the mirror offensively. I don't want to play their offense. I really don't want to go after Colin Kaepernick, and they're running a lot of what we run. I don't want to do that. They're athletic on the offensive end, which is a Achilles heel of our defense. I would be afraid to play the San Francisco 49ers from the standpoint of looking in the mirror offensively. And Aldridge Smith is a beast. And can you imagine Tyler Columbus trying to block Alden Smith. You could put 3 sacks in the books right now. But I'm not afraid to go to San Francisco like I am Seattle. I'll go to San Francisco. I'll go to Green Bay. Just don't make me go to Seattle. Don't want to go there. What about you? What's the one team you don't want to face if we're a wild card team? Where's the one place you don't want to go and have to try and get a W and come back with? Where's the one place you don't want to go? Who's the one team you don't want to face if we're a wild card, the 6th seed, say, in the NFC? Where's the one location you don't want to go and have to try and go get a win? Vice versa, what's the one team you would like to play? Who's the team that you would most like to see if we're the wild card? Where's the one place you wouldn't mind going? It's easy for me. If we don't win a division, that means the Giants win the division. I wouldn't mind going to play the Giants in New York. Wouldn't mind going there at all. I wouldn't mind going and playing the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. That's not the smartest move. If I had to pick, I'd go to New York in a heartbeat. I'd go to San Francisco over Lambeau, but I'm not afraid of either of those teams. I'm not afraid of the San Francisco 49ers or the Green Bay Packers. But I'd much rather go to New York and take on the Giants. I like my chances there. The evil that you know is much better than the evil that you don't. Keep your family members closer than your worst enemy. Giants are family members. We know them inside and out. So I'd much rather play the Giants than anyone else if we don't win the division. What about you? Who's the one team you wouldn't mind facing if we get the wild card? What if we win the division? Let's talk about that. What if we win a division? Who's the one team you wouldn't want to face if we won the division? At that point, if we win the division, we get a home playoff game, I'm not afraid of anybody. Give me Seattle. Give me Dallas. Give me New York. Give me whoever. Give me Minnesota. I don't care. Anyone can come to Washington. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the Seahawks, the team, as much as I am the Seahawks and their venue. When you go to Seattle, they're a different bunch. They're maniacs in Seattle. That 12th man, it's almost like they're pumping in volume into that stadium. They're pumping in extra added noise. It just makes it that much harder to function out there. It's crazy. It's a madhouse out there. I don't want to go to Seattle. But if you bring them to Washington, I have no problem disposing of them. So I don't feel afraid of anyone if we're at home. That's a different ballgame then. Not saying that we're the best home team in the world, but it's not so much as us having an advantage at FedEx as it is you're not at home. You have to come to us. We're not playing at your place. It's more an advantage of that than it is us just being at home and playing at FedEx. But who's the one team you don't want to see if we win the wild card? What's the one team that you're afraid of that if we get a home playoff game and we have to face them in the first round, we can go home right away? Who's that one team? Again, I'm not really afraid of anybody, but let's see. If the Bears were to not win that division and they got in as, let's say they got in as the 5th seed, I don't think I would want any part of the Bears, maybe. That might be the one team, and I'm really not afraid of them because I don't think the Bears can score. I think they're offensively challenged, are the Chicago Bears. But we played them in the preseason, and of course, that was a different Washington Redskins team. That was a preseason. Offensive line wasn't intact. Robert Griffin III was really just getting his feet wet. But they really got after our offensive line. They really got after Robert Griffin III in that game. We know the Bears have an athletic front four, and they can pose problems defensively. Offensively, I'm not afraid of them. You know, Brandon Marshall is a beast, and so he probably would have a field day on our secondary. But if I had to pick someone, if I didn't have to pick anyone, I'd probably say I'm not afraid of anyone. At home, I feel really good, but the one team that I feel like could really get after our quarterback that could be in the wild card would be the Bears. You know, when we drop back to pass, Julius Peppers, Henry Melton, those guys could create some havoc and get in our backfield and really disrupt things. And they're athletic enough to really kind of neutralize what we want to do offensively. Not so sure I would really want to take on the Bears if I didn't have to. But again, if we're at home, I'm not afraid of anybody. If we're on the road, I don't want to go to Seattle. That's the one place you couldn't pay me to go. I don't want to go to Seattle. You know, at all costs, we should try our very best to not have to go to Seattle. That's one place you just don't want to go. If you're any team, not just the Redskins, and we struggle. The last 2 times we've been bounced from the playoffs, our playoff stay has ended in Seattle. Both times. So, I don't want to go there. I just don't want to go to Seattle. What about you? How do you feel about all those questions I asked? Got 2 more questions for you. This is so much fun, and it's been a while. Let me ask you a few questions, and then we'll get on to the Cleveland Browns and talk about what's going to take for us to get a win against these Browns on Sunday. How old were you the last time the Redskins went to the NFC Championship game? How old were you when we did that? Because it's a real possibility that if we get into postseason this year, we could be back in the NFC Championship game. So I want to know, how old were you the last time the Redskins got to the NFC Championship game? For those of you who don't know when that was, it was 1991. Really was 1992, but unless your birthday is in January, then you hadn't turned another year yet. So it was January of 1992, to be exact. How old were you? I was 5. I was in kindergarten. I had my Mark Rippon jersey. Had my little, Wilson outfit with the helmet, strap, Mark Rippon jersey, pants. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't ready to go. How old were you? How old were you the last time the Redskins hosted a home playoff game? Again, for those of you who can't jog your memory and go that far back, it was 1999. We beat up on the Detroit Lions, went to the divisional round of the postseason, should have beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, lost 13-14. They went on to lose to the Rams, who ended up being the greatest show on turf and winning the Super Bowl that year. I don't think we could have beat that Rams team anyway, but would have been fun to see us try. Thought our defense was really good that season. And, we had an explosive offense that year, so maybe we would have been able to match wits with the Rams in that game. Who knows? How old were you the last time the Redskins had a home playoff game? That was 1999. Again, I was 13. I was in the 8th grade. Huge Redskins fan. Like I've said, I've been a Redskins fan since I was 3 years old. The first memories I have start with the Redskins. Me sitting in front of the TV, watching the Redskins get demolished by the San Francisco 49ers. That's the first thing I remember. So, I go a long way back. But I was 13, 8th grade, and that season, I really thought we had a chance. I really did. That was the last time I really thought the Redskins had a legitimate shot at winning the Super Bowl. 2005, 2007, they were cute, they were nice, but I never for 1 second in those seasons thought we had a legitimate shot at winning the Super Bowl. Now, did I think we could beat the Seattle Seahawks? Sure. Especially in 2005, I thought we really had a shot at beating the Seattle Seahawks. Just wasn't meant to be. But now, different story. Different team, different story. And if we can just find a way into the postseason, we can be a dangerous out in the NFC. So I want to hear some feedback from you guys. I just asked you about 5, 6, maybe 7 questions. You don't have to answer all of them. Answer the ones you like. But I want to hear from you guys. Because this is fun. We need to enjoy this ride. We don't know how long it's going to last. Let's enjoy the ride now. I've allowed myself to kind of put my guard down and put myself at ease a bit. Even if we don't make the postseason, I got what I wanted out of this season. I wanted to finish better than 6-10. I wanted to finish better than 7-9. We're going to do that. We're not going to lose the remaining games on our slate. So we're going to finish better than 7-9. I've said, whatever you do, finish 8-8 or better and show me that we're becoming a good football team. And they've done those things. Haven't got to 8-8 yet. Haven't got to 8 wins yet to assure us of an 8-win season. But I feel confident that we'll achieve that. But I'm not selling this season short. Don't mistake what I'm saying to you as me allowing myself to think that we're not going to win and get to the postseason. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I feel good about this season no matter what happens at this point now. I feel good because not only did we make those draft picks that we gave up, or at least the one in this season, a relevant draft pick. If we finish 5-11, 6-10 this season, we were giving the St. Louis Rams a prime pick in the draft this season. That really makes me angry. I hate giving away draft picks, and I hate giving away good ones at that. You give them the 22nd pick in the draft, who cares? You give them the 18th pick in the draft, who cares? You give them the 6th pick in the draft, that stings. That hurts. So that's number one. Number two, it shows that we're getting better as a football team. We're getting better as a franchise if we win 8 games, 9 games. So I know that we're heading in the right direction. And then you don't have to worry about Daniel Snyder making some rash decision and firing Mike Shanahan. Now you feel good that we're not going to have any turmoil in the offseason. Everything's going to go smoothly, and we can just continue on our track, on our march to becoming a really good football team. So, answer away. Fire away all your answers. I want to hear from you. I'm looking forward to getting some feedback from you guys on these questions because, again, I want to have fun. I'm going to enjoy this ride. I hope this ride lasts all the way to the Super Bowl. I'm expecting it to last at least to the divisional round of the playoffs because I feel like if we get in, no matter if we're a wild card or we win a division, we're winning in the first round. I don't care who we're playing. Unless it's Seattle, then I'll have my doubts. I'll have my reservations. But if it's anybody but Seattle on the road, oh, we're winning the game. I feel confident. I don't care who it is. Don't care who it is. But Robert Griffin III has to be healthy. That's first and foremost. But let's get into the Cleveland Browns and figure out what it's going to take to beat this Cleveland Browns team, notch our 5th win in a row, and really put some pressure on these teams that are trying to keep us out of the postseason. Okay, so the Cleveland Browns are a dangerous team. I've already said it on the top of the show. They're a dangerous team. Let me tell you why they're a dangerous team. Offensively, they're a young, hungry bunch. At quarterback, rookie quarterback, just like we have a rookie, they have a rookie. He's part of the NFL starting 5. Brandon Weeden, he's been playing good football of late. Don't let his numbers fool you. He's been playing a lot better. Those numbers are skewed because at the beginning of the season, he was struggling. You know, there were some ugly games at the beginning of the season. There were some 3-4 interception games. He was struggling. He wasn't making good decisions with the football. Of late, it's starting to change. He's not turning the ball over as much. He's giving his team a chance. And the most impressive thing about Brandon Weeden now is that he's giving his skill guys a chance to catch the ball and run after the catch. Again, yak is where it's at in the NFL. Yards after the catch are what separates teams in the National Football League. Your ability to get chunk plays. Have your receiver catch a 17-yard pass and run for 67 yards. That's what has made the Redskins dangerous. Our ability to get yak. Yak is where it's at. The ability for Pierre Garçon to catch a 15-yard pass and get 37 on the play. For him to catch a 22-yard pass and get 66 and score a touchdown. Yak is where it's at, and Brandon Weeden has this team getting copious amounts of yak. So, you start with Brandon Weeden, but that's not where this team ends in terms of young players, young hungry players, young hungry talented players. You look at their backfield. Trent Richardson, we know he was one of the higher draft picks in the draft. You look at Montario Hardesty, another young guy out of Tennessee. That's a very diverse backfield. You got power with Richardson in between the tackles. You got a little bit of speed with Montario Hardesty. Those guys can be dangerous if we don't bottle them up. I don't like the way our run defense has looked of late. I feel confident that we'll be able to get it done in the run game, stopping them from running the football. But I said that 2 weeks ago against the Giants, and Ahmad Bradshaw went nuts. I knew we were going to have trouble stopping Ray Rice and the Ravens from running the football. They're a good running football team. Ray Rice is a great running back. I knew we were going to have our problems there. This isn't that. We should be able to bottle them up running the football. Trent Richardson is not a burner. He's an in-between-the-tackles guy. He's going to get tough yards. We got to be able to corral him. He breaks tackles, and we're not a great tackling team. He will break tackles. If you don't come with your hard hat and your lunch pail, he'll run you over or he'll run through your arm tackle. So we got to be able to corral this guy, bring him down, stop the run. So it doesn't end there, though. Probably where they're the most talented is out wide at the receiver position. You look at Josh Gordon, their supplemental draft pick out of Baylor. This guy's a stud. He's a beast in the making out there in Cleveland. You haven't seen a lot of Josh Gordon. Telling you right now, this guy is a big play waiting to happen. And that's Brandon Whedon's favorite target. He loves to take 2 or 3 deep shots to Josh Gordon a game, and normally they connect on 1 or 2 of them. And you know that's one of our Achilles heels in this season is stopping deep passes. Joe Flacco had Torrey Smith open. He just overshot him. Eli Manning had Victor Cruz. He had Hakeem Nicks open in the last 2 games against us. They just missed. Both teams just missed. Brandon Whedon has not been missing the deep ball. So if we don't clean that up, that can be a problem. You also look at Greg Little. He's a guy that does all the dirty work. He'll catch it over the middle. He'll stretch the defense. He'll catch a small pass, 2-yard pass, get 7 on the play. He's a big, strong, physical receiver. More talent out there. Travis Benjamin. Last week, he had a 93-yard punt return in the special teams game. You look at him, he's a guy that's a shifty receiver. He can get vertical on you. He can go deep. He can cause problems in our secondary. They also have a young receiver named Josh Cooper. He's a slot guy, a little shifty guy that they got out of Oklahoma State. He can make it happen on 3rd downs. They have a lot of receivers that they can come and use. They're interchangeable parts, and they're dangerous. Then you come in tight to the tight end group, and you're talking about Jordan Cameron, Benjamin Watson, and even Alex Smith. They have tight ends as well. So this is a dangerous offense. Offensive line-wise, this is probably the best offensive line group as far as pass blocking is concerned we've seen all season, which doesn't bode well for us because you know we don't get pressure on the quarterback. So that's not music to our ears hearing that this is probably the best front 5 in terms of pass protection that we've seen all year. They have hogs up front that pass protect. I mean, these guys don't allow you to really get a lot of pressure on Whedon. You can get, pressure on him here and there, but for the most part, they're going to stand up and protect him. For us to get pressure, we're going to have to blitz. And even then, there's no guarantee on this offensive line that we'll be able to get home to Brandon Whedon. If we blitz and we don't get there, and he gets one-on-one coverage up top with one of these receivers, we're in trouble. So they pose a threat offensively. Dangerous offense. Defensively, they're a tough, hard-nosed defense. Not as aggressive as some of these teams that we've seen in the past. They don't really scare me as much defensively, but I tell you what, I watched them all season long. I watched them against Tony Romo. They really harassed Tony Romo in that game. They really tossed him around and roughed him up like a rag doll in that game. So if we aren't on our best, I have no doubts that our offensive line can get it done. I don't have a reason to worry. They haven't given me a reason to really worry this season. Our offensive line has done a good job of protecting Robert Griffin III for the most part, but this Browns, front 7 can be dangerous if we don't block. They're a dangerous group. They're strong at the point of attack. The Browns have spent several first-round draft choices on defensive linemen to bolster that group, and so they're getting production out of this group in the front 7. Jabal Sheard, Phil Taylor. They have guys that can play, that can collapse the pocket if we're not careful. They're a dangerous group. So we really need to be on our best in terms of pass protection because they're physical, and when they get to the quarterback, they have mean intentions. They're not getting there to push him on the ground. They're getting there to slam him and separate his shoulder, to give him a concussion. So we really need to protect Robert Griffin III because they roughed Tony Romo up when they played the Cowboys, about a month back. This Browns team is dangerous. Let's talk about the keys to the game. And let's not forget, before I get away from talking about the Browns and the threats that they pose to this team, they're dangerous on the special teams front. Josh Cribbs, you can forget about him very easily. He's one of the best return men in the National Football League. And so you can't sleep on Joshua Cribbs. Every time he touches it, he's a threat to take it to the house. Got to contain him. Our special teams unit hasn't given us any reason to be concerned. But, again, you still have to mention it because they're so dangerous. Last week, Travis Benjamin changed the game. He gave them their first points of the game with a 93-yard punt return, and they took off from there. We don't need to give them anything similar to that, not even close to it. We need to hold them in the return game and make sure that whatever they get, they earn it. So let's get to the keys of the game. First and foremost, stop the run. That is the most easiest and efficient way for us to win this football game. Stop the run. Because Brandon Weeden, even though I just sung his praises, he will give us opportunities to make plays. He'll give us opportunities to force some turnovers in this game. Whether it's him trusting this offensive line. I told you this offensive line is really good. Sometimes he gets a little too comfortable back there. When your offensive line is as good as his is, you'll get comfortable back there thinking that no one's coming. You'll start to ignore the clock in your head that says, hey, get rid of the football. Because they block for you so well, you're just assuming that you've got time. Sometimes he'll hold on to it too long. Maybe we can get in there, slap it away. Kerrigan is great at that. Maybe he'll get in there, come around the edge. Maybe he'll be getting pushed around, but still be able to slap the ball out of his hand, force a turnover. But the key here is stop the run. Don't allow them to be balanced. Don't allow them to run and pass, because their run sets up their pass. If they can't run and it's all on Brandon Weeden's shoulders, we'll be in good hands because we'll have opportunities to force him into some mistakes. He's going to give us at least 2, maybe 3 opportunities to make plays in this game. I guarantee it. I've watched the Browns all season long. He will give us opportunities. He's a rookie. Keep that in mind. He will give us opportunities to get interceptions in this game. Now, will we take advantage of them? Now, that's a whole separate issue. We'll get to that in a little bit. But that's number 1 on the list. Stop the run. Make Weeden beat us. Got to. The next thing that we have to do, limit the big plays. A few weeks back when they were on the road against the Oakland Raiders, big plays won them that football game. Okay? They had over 6 plays of 20 yards or more in that game. They were explosive in that game. And this goes back to what I was talking about with Brandon Weeden, giving his receivers, his skill guys, a chance to run after the catch. He was putting the ball on the money. They were on the run, dead sprint, catching it, and accelerating past defenders. Getting chunks of yardage. Flipping the field position on one play. We can't allow that to happen in this game. Whatever they get, they have to earn it. They want to go 14 plays, 82 yards, and score a touchdown, so be it. But they don't need to have 6-play, 77-yard drives for touchdowns. Those don't need to happen. We need to make sure that they earn everything because they're still a young team. They're a team that makes mistakes. If they got to go 14 yards, there's going to be a holding penalty involved. There's going to be a tipped pass. There's going to be a missed connection by Brandon Weeden. There's going to be some opportunities for us to get off the field. But if we allow them to quick strike us, we're going to be in trouble. So limit the big plays in this football game. Make them earn everything they get. A wise man once told me, nothing cheap, nothing deep. Truer words have never been spoken in terms of football. Nothing cheap, nothing deep. We can't give up big plays down the field. This ties into what we were just talking about with limiting the big plays. Nothing cheap, nothing deep. We can't give up any easy touchdowns. This also ties into the special teams game. We can't give them anything cheap. Nothing easy for this Browns team. Make them work for everything. This is a Browns team that really wants to score 17 points. They don't want to score 24. They don't want to score 27. They don't want to score 30. 30 is blasphemy for this Browns team. Now you're starting to talk an unspoken language in Cleveland. 30 points. What's 30 points? They scored 30 last week. They nearly threw a parade in Cleveland. They scored 30 points last week against Kansas City. This is not a Cleveland Browns team that wants to score 24, 27, 30 points. They much rather keep this game at 17. They're more comfortable around 17, around 20 points. Our job is to score 24, 27. Make it hard on this Cleveland Browns team. Make them have to score. Make them get out of their comfort zone, which is 17, 20 points. They would love for this game to be 17-13, 17-20, 16-19. They win those type of games. We want this game at 24-27, 27-30, because we don't think they can keep up. I don't think they can keep up. So nothing cheap, nothing deep. Limit the cheapies. Nothing over the top. Come on, guys. Got to stay back. Talking to you, Badu Williams. I'm talking to you. Stay back. We got to take advantage of opportunities that come our way. Brandon Weeden is going to give us opportunities to make plays in this game. Opportunities to make plays don't come often. We can't squander them. If he gives us a pick right in our hands, catch the football. And if you catch it, make something happen afterwards. Don't be afraid to get freaky and get in the end zone. Don't be afraid to do so. But he's going to give us at least 2 opportunities in this game to make a play that can change the face of this game. Make them. If they come your way, make them. Don't be the guy that allows an opportunity to pass you by and ends up haunting us in the end of this game. If opportunities come your way, make the play. We got to be balanced in this game. We got to run the football. And this is a tough Cleveland Browns defense. Not saying they're one of the best defenses in the league, but this is a tough Cleveland Browns defense. And their first goal is going to be stopping the run. Because they feel like if they can stop the run and do what the Steelers did, the blueprint for beating us is probably the Steelers game. If you're an opposing team looking to beat us, you probably just need to put on the Pittsburgh Steelers tape and watch that very closely and see what they did. Because we were out of our element a bit in that game. I thought we threw the ball way too much. We didn't run enough. But they really did limit Alfred Morris's effectiveness in that game. And if you want to get to us offensively, the best way to do so is to limit Alfred Morris's production. Because if that read option isn't hitting home, all of a sudden that play action fake doesn't seem as scary anymore. So I know the Cleveland Browns' main objective in this game is stop the run first and foremost. That should be anybody's objective against us, is to stop the run. You can't stop our run, you are in for a long day, my friend. Because now that opens up the whole playbook. Now we can do whatever we like. Yeah, we can do whatever we like. Yeah, we can do whatever we like. Yeah. And if you're the Browns, you don't want that. You don't want play action fake. You don't want Pierre Garçon to get behind you. You don't want Aldrick Robinson going up top and running by your corners and your safeties. You want to keep everything in front of you, and the best way to do that, stop the run. So we got to be balanced. We run the football, we're probably going to be able to win this game because we're going to be able to score points. We're going to be effective on offense, and we can run and pass the football. We need to remain balanced in this game. Score touchdowns. Score touchdowns when we have the opportunity to do so. We drive the football, and again, this goes back to the point that I made earlier. This Browns team doesn't want to score 24, 27, 30 points. They're a team that wants to keep this to 17 or 20. The easiest way for us to avoid that happening, score touchdowns. We get a chance to score a touchdown, we got to take it. You know, last week I made that a point of emphasis against the Baltimore Ravens. I told you that was going to be a high-scoring game. We're going to have to score touchdowns. We did a great job of scoring touchdowns. Great job in that game. You know, second half, not so much. We had to kick field goals, but we weren't ever really close and having a chance to threaten to score. We were really far back. We had some penalties that derailed drives, and we had to settle for field goals. But really, when we got close in the Ravens game, we got in the red zone, we scored touchdowns. And that's what we need to do against this Browns team. Score points. We scored 28 again in regulation, we're going to win this game. Because the Browns aren't going to score 29, 30, 31 points. We scored 27, we should be able to win this game. Unless we have one of these defensive stinkers where we just have mental breakdowns left and right, guys are running free in our secondary and they're making big plays. This Browns team shouldn't score 27 points on us. They shouldn't score 24. They should be right around 17 or 20, and we should be able to score more than that to win this game. Don't self-destruct. That ties into just what I was referring to just a second ago about us scoring touchdowns and the Browns not being able to score that many points. The only way the Browns score 27 or 30 points, or the only way that we only score 17 or 20 or 16, is if we self-destruct, meaning penalties, mistakes, and turnovers. We do those three things, we're going to be in a dogfight, and we might come up on the short end of this stick in this game. We play our game. We limit the mistakes. We limit the penalties. Penalties are a killer for us. We're one of the most penalized teams in the league, and it kills our drives. Nothing worse than getting an 11-yard gain on 2nd and 9 for a first down, only to have it called back because of holding. Now it's 2nd and 19. Now we have to punt 2 plays later. Stop with the penalties. Limit the mistakes. Mistakes could be taking points off the board, not catching an interception, not recovering a fumble, not tackling guys. Limit the mistakes and don't turn the football over. Those are keys for us. We don't turn it over. We don't give this Browns team a short field. We don't allow them to get in the end zone because we threw a pick six or we fumbled the ball and they scooped it up and ran in for a touchdown. We eliminate the mistakes, the turnovers, the penalties. We don't self-destruct in this game. I don't see how we either play down to the Browns level at 17 or 20 or we don't get to our level of 27 or 30. We should find a way to get somewhere in between there. 24, 26, 27. We should find our way there if we do the things that we can do, that we're capable of doing, and being efficient on the offensive end. We do that, we're going to win this game. I feel like we're going to be able to do that. I feel like we're going to be able to do enough to win this game. I like our chances. Again, I like our chances down the stretch. 24-17. We get it done on the road. I don't know if Robert Griffin III is going to play or not. All signs are pointing to him playing. Whether he plays or not, I think we should be able to win this game. I feel a lot more comfortable if Robert Griffin III was on the field. But if he's not, we got to rally around Kirk Cousins and give him the best opportunity to win this game. And that's running the football, making him comfortable, making him not feel like he has to do everything, keeping him clean, not allowing guys to get in his face, disrupt him, and force him into some bad mistakes. And do the things that we've done during this 4-game winning streak to get us to where we are now. And that's run the football, make smart decisions, not turning it over, and giving ourselves a good chance to win. And I feel like we're going to do that in this game. We're going to get after Brandon Weeden enough to the point where he gives us some opportunities to make some plays. We need to make them, and I think we're going to make enough of them to get us 24 points and to get us a win. I feel good about this. I feel confident, and this is another stepping stone to where we want to go. The Browns are in the way. They are absolutely in the way of us making a postseason. And we got to move them out the way. We got to move them out the way. We don't have time for any stumbling blocks. Dead sprint. I already told you, this is a dead sprint. Head down, arms pumping, fast as they can go. We're trying to get to that finish line. Everyone is. And we need to be one of the first 6 participants to get to that finish line in the NFC. That's all we're concerned about. And the Browns are in the way. So we got to clear this hurdle. We got to hop right over these Browns and get to the Philadelphia Eagles. But one game at a time, we got to take care of these Cleveland Browns. And I think we'll do so. I feel confident. I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. My Redskins spirit will never fold. As always, hail to the Redskins. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Redskins fans, Redskins nation, stand up. It's our time. We're going to get it done. And I'll be back here next week talking to you about how the next week's game against the Eagles is the next biggest game on the slate because we were able to get it done against the Cleveland Browns. Until then, enjoy this program. Enjoy the game. Look forward to your feedback on those questions that I asked. Look forward to your comments. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Have a good one.
The Redskins Report.